After some time in life, I finally managed to get my hands on Persona 3 Reload on PC. And no, this review is not sponsored by Atlus. At first glance, Persona 3 Reload may look like another stylish anime RPG about high school students fighting monsters. However, after spending time with the game, I realized it is far more than that. Beneath its combat system, social mechanics, and dungeon exploration lies a story about life, death, acceptance, and the importance of human connections. The story begins with you playing as the main protagonist who has recently transferred to Gekogan High School and moved into a dormitory, signaling the beginning of a completely new chapter in life. Before continuing further, I do want to mention that this game contains themes involving implied suicide imagery, so if that subject makes you uncomfortable, this may not be the game for you. The beginning of the game is surprisingly slow-paced. It took around 2 hours before the game truly introduced its core themes and mechanics, but the pacing is intentional. The game wants players to slowly settle into its world, understand the people around them, and absorb the atmosphere before revealing the darkest truth hidden beneath everyday life. In this world, when the clock strikes midnight, the hidden period known as the Dark Hour appears. During this hour, ordinary people become trapped inside coffins, completely unaware of what is happening around them. However, there are those who are capable of accepting their true selves and able to move through this frozen moment of time. Unfortunately, danger also lurks within the Dark Hour. Creatures known as shadows roam the city and hunt those who traverse this hidden time. Victims who don't survive from these monsters later develop apathy syndrome, leaving them emotionally empty and disconnected from reality. Think of them as people who are lost all meaning and purpose in life. To fight these shadows, certain individuals possess the ability to summon personas, manifestations of their inner selves. Only a handful of people are capable of using this power, and with it comes the responsibility of protecting humanity from the horrors hidden within the Dark Hour. Persona users are also able to enter Tartarus, a massive tower that mysteriously appears where the school normally stands. Naturally, this raises many questions. Why do the shadows exist? What is the purpose of Tartarus? And how do we stop this nightmare from consuming humanity? That journey is for you to discover throughout the game. Now, I know many people will immediately ask the same question. Why are they pointing guns at their heads? The answer lies with the Evoker, a tool used to summon personas. While it resembles a gun, it symbolically represents confronting fear, mortality, and the darker parts of oneself. At first, it seems strange and unsettling, but as the story progresses, the symbolism behind it becomes much clearer and surprisingly meaningful. Please do not do this in real life. Combat in Persona 3 Reload follows the classic formula of exploiting enemy weaknesses, knocking enemies down, and unleashing devastating all-out attacks. There are multiple elemental and physical attack types to experiment with, and every shadow possesses different strengths and weaknesses. Battle rewards players who pay attention and adapt rather than simply relying on brute force. Despite being turn-based, the combat feels fast, stylish, and satisfying. As per the tradition of the Persona franchise, the protagonist is capable of wielding multiple personas. Unlike other party members who are limited to one, personas can be fused together to create stronger ones. And this is where social links become extremely important. Social links are the relationships and bonds you build characters throughout the story. Every person you meet carries their own struggles, insecurities, regrets, and ambitions. Some stories are lighthearted, while others are surprisingly emotional, but almost all of them feel grounded in real human experiences. Building stronger social links improves the personas you create through fusion, rewarding players more emotionally and mechanically. Some social links can be unlocked when you reach certain levels of the social stats, such as courage, charm, and academics. This can be increased by studying, eating at restaurants, working part-time jobs, or participating in various activities throughout the city. Academics, by the way, is painfully difficult to level up. The amount of effort required honestly felt too realistic. What I appreciate most about Persona 3 Reload is how it encourages players to slow down and value everyday moments. The game is not just about defeating shadows or climbing Tartarus. It is also about spending time with people, understanding them, and deciding how you want to live your life day by day. Every action you take consumes time, meaning you constantly have to choose between strengthening bonds, exploring Tartarus, improving your stats, or simply resting. Because of this, I genuinely recommend playing your first playthrough naturally instead of trying to optimize everything perfectly. At certain points in the story, you gain more opportunities to explore Tartarus and improve your characters. Battle rewards are mainly experience and items. However, you can gain additional rewards from shuffle time, such as money, skill cards, extra experience, or even new personas. Triggering an all-out attack will guarantee shuffle time, so exploiting enemy weaknesses becomes extremely important to achieve that. Enemies that look similar usually share the same weakness profile, so remembering them makes future encounters much easier. One aspect that deserves special praise is the music and atmosphere of the game. The soundtrack does an incredible job building emotion throughout the journey. From the stylish opening themes to the energetic battle music, every soundtrack carries its own personality. During combat, the music keeps you engaged and constantly pushes you to think carefully about your next move if you're playing higher difficulty. Even tracks without vocals still carry emotional weight, enhancing the tension or sadness behind important scenes and character interactions. Meanwhile, the calm background music during your daily activities creates a strange, relaxing feeling, almost as if the game is encouraging you to slow down and breathe for a moment. The visual presentation is equally impressive. There is so much artistic personality behind the menus, the equipment screens, shopping interfaces, and overall UI design. Every transition feels smooth and stylish without becoming too distracting. You can generally feel the amount of care and love Atlus poured into the game's presentation. Even navigating menus feel satisfying because of how polished and expressive everything looks. Another major strength of Persona 3 Reload is character dynamics. Beyond social links, the members of Cease gradually change throughout the story as they face difficult truths and personal struggles together. Every major chapter shapes their perspective, decisions, and relationships with one another. Some characters begin distant or emotionally closed off, while others struggle with fear, insecurity, or their own purpose in life. Over time, their chemistry develops naturally through shared experiences and hardships. What makes the journey memorable is not just the main story itself, but also watching this group slowly grow closer together. Their interactions feel believable, awkward at times, emotional at others, but ultimately human. There are many ups and downs throughout the journey, and the information they uncover constantly forces them to question themselves and the world around them. At one point, Igor explains how important it is to meet people and form bonds. As someone who spends most of his time gaming, working, and keeping to himself, that line unexpectedly resonates with me. The more I interacted with the characters and strengthened my social links, the more they reminded me of the people I've met throughout my life. Eventually, it dawned on me that Persona 3 Reload constantly reminds players that time is limited. There were moments where I ignored certain social links, thinking I could always come back to them later, only to realize that time it moves forward exactly like reality does. As we grow older, life slowly changes. Friends move away, people become busier, some relationships naturally fade without conflict or closure. Eventually, you realize that the people you once saw every day are now living completely different lives. And this game captures that feeling surprisingly well. Instead of making this idea feel depressing, the game teaches us to appreciate the moments and connections we still have while they are here. Now, let us talk about the aspects that may turn certain players away from this game. The biggest issue is pacing. Persona 3 Reload is a very long game. Players who prefer immediate action or fast plot progression may struggle to stay engaged during the opening hours. Another issue is Tartarus. After spending 40 hours in the game, and no, I still have not finished this game yet, the dungeon can start to feel visually repetitive. Climbing many floors in one sitting may become exhausting for some players, especially for those who constantly try to optimize every single day and activity. While the gameplay loop remains enjoyable, there were definitely moments where the repetition became noticeable. Thankfully, Persona 3 Reload offers flexible difficulty settings for different types of players. If you are mainly interested in the story and characters, there is even a peaceful difficulty options that allows you to enjoy the narrative without worrying too much about difficult combat encounters. Because of this, the game feels approachable even for players completely new to the Persona franchise or turn-based RPGs in general. You can easily change the game's difficulty by going through systems configuration via the menu at any time. Players who dislike reading dialogue, slow pacing, repetitive dungeon exploration, anime style storytelling, social simulation mechanics, or turn-based combat may struggle to enjoy the experience. Persona 3 Reload is not constantly rushes toward a segment. Instead, it takes its time building emotional attachment to its world and characters before delivering its most impactful moments. Despite its flaws, I generally think Persona 3 Reload is an incredible experience for the right audience. It is stylish, emotional, thoughtful, and surprisingly relatable in ways I did not expect. Not because of the combat or flashy presentation, but because it reminded me of how valuable time and human connections truly are. If you reached this point in the video, thank you so much for listening to my thoughts and the review. I hope this review helped you decide whether Persona 3 Reload is the kind of journey you want to experience for yourself. And as always, happy gaming, explorers!